Two girls, no farms. Two girls, no farms.
Cheers. I love this beginning part. We're like, yeah. Just a side note, like, there's a stage of life where you drink, like, bubbly water all the time. Like, I never did this ever in my life until, like, now. Yeah. Now I'm, like, all excited about the different types of... Yeah, like, when a new flavor comes out, I lose my goddamn mind. Soda is so bad for you. Yeah. Like, I know I've always known that. People used to drink it. People actually still do. But, you know what? I'm judging. I should just observe. Right. Oh. Well, we just set ourselves up for our next episode. Hi, everybody. This is Two Girls, No Fucks. And today's topic is... observations versus opinions. Yes. And so why is that important? I love this topic because, again, like many of the things we've discussed, these things have come up in conversations that I've had with Kim. And, you know, she's taught me a lot of great things. And this is one thing that I didn't realize that I did. And a lot of people don't realize how many opinions they have and how many opinions they don't need to have. Yes. Yes. And it's a very different life when you're just observing life rather than making opinions about it all the time. Yeah. And the whole reason why, for me anyways, why this is important is that it's okay to have an opinion. It's important to have opinions. That being said, oftentimes, 90% of the time we have opinions about things that we don't need to have opinions about. And it's not just hurtful for the person who's on the receiving end of the criticism, it's also not good for us because having an opinion about something is having a judgment. Yeah. And that's why I want to break it down because we do it in very small ways. Mm-hmm. And it's a bad habit. And once we do it in really small ways, the neural pathways in our brain are just set to just see something, have an opinion about it, judge it. And once we do that for little things, then all of a sudden that translates to bigger things. Yeah. And it's not fun for anybody. No. The thing about it that has helped me a lot, or I feel like I've been set free in a way, is that when, like you're saying, you have opinions about everything, most likely you're having a lot of opinions about yourself as well. Yes. And when you realize that you don't need to have opinions on all these outside things, including some internal things, it's much more liberating. Because I think we, as a human species, are somewhat programmed to make judgments all the time. Snap judgments, first impressions, all that sort of stuff is for survival. Like, it's in our biology to a certain degree. Yep. But there is things you can do to override it because we don't need to be this judgmental anymore. We live in a lot different world than we did millions of years ago. Yeah. We can just see something, observe it, and like a cloud in the sky, very similar to meditation. Again, I always bring up meditation. I know you meditate, I meditate. Meditation is good because it helps you catch yourself before you judge, before you scream, before you freak out, before you have a panic attack, you know? Not always, but it just makes your mind stronger. Yeah. And I'll give you some small examples of opinions that we don't need to have. One big example that comes up for me, and I'll never forget it, I was working years ago at, who cares, I was working somewhere, and I was in the kitchen, and I was eating a salad. There was cilantro in my salad. Now, I know that for some people, cilantro tastes like soap. That's a fact. I learned that. That's fine. I don't know what that's like, but I believe it. Observation. Now, I'm eating the cilantro in the kitchen, and somebody goes, cilantro? How could you eat cilantro? It was harmless, obviously. How could you eat cilantro? It tastes like soap. It's fucking disgusting. And that was one of the first moments where I realized, why do we do that? Why do we have an opinion about something? Or why do we make it's an ego thing as well, but why do we make our opinion the opinion? And of course, having an opinion about cilantro is harmless, but it's not about that opinion. It's about the habit. It's about the practice. Versus saying, I'm so glad you're able to eat cilantro. For me, cilantro tastes like soap. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be able to eat it. You know, making a factual statement about something that is like preference-based is not harmful necessarily. It's a harmful habit though, because that translates when you get to bigger issues. You know, it's the same thing with fashion. You know, I may not I have a passion for fashion. I also, you know, I catch myself, but I practice mindfulness and I catch myself, wait a minute, are you judging this person? Are you having an opinion when you can just observe, oh, interesting choice of footwear? Yeah. That's it. That's it.
That's where it ends.
Yeah.
Not, I have better footwear, that footwear is ugly, you know. It's just
that person has no sense of style because
Yes.
ABC. It's like, no, they just have different style.
They have different style.
That's the observation versus the opinion.
Yeah.
No style or just different.
Or it's the same thing when, again, harmless sometimes, but you watch a music video online, you hate it, instead of just observing and saying, that is not for me.
Didn't work for me.
That is not for me. It's like, fucking, this band fucking sucks. Let me put a comment in there. And it's like, you know, you see a band that you don't like, you could just observe that you don't like this band, make a mental note, hey, probably I won't buy tickets to any of their shows. Not my cup of tea. But like to go and write, like, this is terrible, this song is garbage, y'all are garbage. No point, and it's a terrible habit. Again, it's less harmful when it's little things.
Well, it's just also the people, when you commit to going so far as to have an opinion about something that maybe doesn't really matter as much, like when you say, oh, that person's shirt is ugly, or that band sucks, usually the feeling that you have, even when you're saying it, it doesn't feel good.
No.
Like, even me just saying that right now, like, doesn't make me feel like a good person, doesn't make me feel happy or light or, like, connected to other people or, like, in a good mood.
Yeah.
It feels gross.
Yeah.
And it's coming from a place of where I'm probably insecure about my own fashion, my own taste in music, something else. And it's just like a vicious cycle. Like, if you are trapped in that and you're not realizing it, like, you're not conscious of it, and you're just sending out these judgments and opinions and things like that on other people and things.
Yeah.
It's just, you're living in a world that's just not as fun and free.
No. We've all done it, I'm sure. Like, turn that off. I fucking hate that. Like, turn that off. That music's garbage or something like that. Versus, hey, would you mind if we changed? I'm really not a fan of this. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just a change in wording sometimes.
Yeah. And this will really help you also if you work in customer service or anything like that. It's also, like, partly about not taking things personally. But, for example, today I was in the lineup to do something, like, at a government office where you have to take a number and da-da-da-da. And there was a couple outside with a toddler, and they didn't want to come into the store or the building with the toddler. And then they were upset because they couldn't come in together, and they didn't want to wait in line. And my immediate thoughts were to have an opinion about the situation and think, like, oh, well, you know, they should have just maybe made separate appointments, or maybe they shouldn't have brought their kid, or maybe they should have had a sitter. And I was realizing that I was doing that, and then I was like, actually, I need to mind my own business and what I'm doing, and I actually don't know anything about their situation at all. And how is it serving me to stand in this line right now and contemplate the decision makings of complete strangers that have no impact on me, and when I leave, I'm never going to see again?
Yeah.
So then my train of thought went to, I'm just going to be super nice to the person that's doing their job here, because I know they have a rough go sometimes with people that come in with different situations. The security guy that was standing there, that he was getting a bit of a hard time and stuff. Like, I'm gonna wish him a happy holiday. Like, I just focused on, like, what can I do? What's going on in my world that matters?
Yeah.
Rather than just standing there and, like, making opinions about a situation that it just isn't worth it.
Yeah. And that's a prime example, what Evada is describing right now, of mindfulness. Because without mindfulness, you cannot catch your own thoughts. So you could have stood there stewing in this judgment and in this, like, idea that you have of these people, and instead you noticed what was going on in your mind. That's why mindfulness serves us, because it allows us to, like I said before, have a front row seat into what's going on in our brain, catch ourselves and decide, do I really want to keep going down this path, or would I like to have a different thought process that serves me better? Then when you get home at the end of the day, you'll have done that. Once you get great at mindfulness, you'll do this 1,000,000 times a day, because your neural pathways will have changed at this point. It'll be a lot easier. It's not going to be this whole process. But, you know, you could have stewed in that, and then and that would have carried into your next transaction, into your next transaction. And it doesn't serve us. We can come home at the end of the day and you're in a bad mood. Chances are, if you come home at the end of the day, not always, but you're in a shitty mood, I had a shitty day, and you need to vent, usually it's because you weren't practicing mindfulness. Not always, but very often.
Yeah, because if you think of yourself, if you think of this, another way to look at it is, like, we're just balls of energy, and how we go through life. That's the energy that we're going to keep carrying on through. So if you're sitting somewhere in a lineup, judging, rolling your eyes, just giving dirty looks, like, harumphing, or, like, just, that's the energy that you're kind of just keeping with you. It's not going to do anything to anybody else other than affect how you're going to, like transition through the rest of your day.
Yeah.
So if you're having less kind of negative opinions or opinions in general, and you can just focus on other things that are more important, your ball of energy is just lighter. I just feel like it's like a lighter, freer, happier ball of energy at the end of the day.
I like that analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to take on other people's stuff. And, like, yeah, it doesn't feel good to criticize other people and, like, have opinions about people's lives that you just don't know much about, most likely. Even the people you know the most, you don't know everything.
You don't.
And everybody has different experiences that affect how they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's what's unfair to have opinions about people's decisions, because we just have people use so much background information, experiences that you don't know about to make those current decisions. Yeah,
I learned that, like, to that point. A few years ago, I read The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama, and he said something that has stuck with me. And he said that humans spend a lot of time trying to figure out, like, why? Why would she do that? Why would he say that? Why would they act that way? When in reality, it's futile. There's no point. The only way you would ever understand why somebody else acted a certain way, you'd have to be born into their life, be raised by whoever raised them, live their experience, have the traumas that they had, have the joys that they had, been in the house that they were in, or in the wherever, because that's what forms their decision-making process now. That's what forms yours, that's what forms ours. Mm-hmm. And so there's no, when we're sitting in a place to say, what the hell? It's like, you wouldn't know.
And some people make decisions themselves with not even understanding why they made them.
Of course.
And it takes a lot of reflection down the road for them to even figure it out.
Yeah, we're so much more than a face and a body. There's a brain in there that fucking, like, is,
like collecting
it's
data
an overdrive.
From year one. Yeah, it's a hard drive.
Yeah.
And we don't know anything about most people's experiences. And that's that's family trauma and just relationships and like
everything.
So much.
So, as per usual, I want to give you 3 tips. And these 3 tips will be on how to convert your judgment, your criticism, to a simple observation. And step 1 is mindfulness, because you won't be able to do it unless you catch yourself doing it. Mm-hmm. You could, and it's going to take practice. I'm telling you, for those of you out there who have adopted mindfulness and who are working at it, you'll know that it's a process. And it's really scary at first, because all of a sudden you do see everything that's going on in your mind, and it's fucking scary, because you're like, fuck, I think that way. And not about others only, about myself. Like, these are the thoughts. So the first one is to really be mindful. And if you need tips on how to be mindful, of course, reach out on my Instagram at Zero Fucks Life Coach. But there are ways to practice that mindfulness muscle. It's not just something that you will yourself to do. But the first tip is to be mindful, so that you can catch yourself when it's happening. Yes. And you can make a decision. Do I want to keep judging, or do I want to make a different decision right now? So step number 2 is be curious.
I like that one.
Yeah. So instead of saying, why the fuck would this person be wearing this? Or what is she doing? What are they doing? What is it? Be curious. I'm noticing myself feeling angry right now. There's an interaction that just happened. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling judgmental. I wonder why. What's coming up for me? Mm-hmm.
I like this too, because in following being mindful, you've become cognizant that you're doing this thought process. You're aware of it. And then to be curious as to, like, where do I want to go with this? Do I want to travel down the road of just, like, judging someone, criticizing someone, like, having a negative opinion? Or do I want to go down the road of, like, how can I either help the situation or, like, but maybe just back out of the situation? Like, when you go back to the scenario where I was in line and there was the people, and I was like, I started thinking in my head, like, I'm not in a rush today. Yeah. I'm like, do I ask if they want me to, like, stand out there with their kid? I'm like, but I am a complete stranger. I'm like, I don't think that that's what they need.
And if they said yes, you'd be like, pfft.
And then I was like, okay, or if they need to go in front of me, I can let them know that that's fine. I'm not in a rush. So then when I got up to the lady at the till, I just said, I'm not in a rush today, so it's fine. Like, if they need to go in front of me. And that's just like, and that made me feel better about my life, myself.
Be a part of the solution.
Yeah. And how can I help these people? Because if they're in distress, rather than being like, oh, they should have done A, B, C, and I would have done it better, and I know everything. It was more just like, these human beings are in distress.
Yeah.
They probably have valid reasons that they are, that I don't know about. Always go with that side of it, too, of like, whatever someone's experiencing is valid for them.
Yes. 100%. 100%. And the important part about being curious as well is not just to catch yourself like, I'm feeling frustrated right now. Why am I annoyed at these people? It's also important to be curious, to label it as curiosity so that you're also kind to yourself. Because if you are working towards not being so judgmental, it would be really easy to be like, fuck, like I was judgmental all day. And it's really important to be kind to yourself and say, hey, like this is what's coming up for me. It's really easy. Like it'll happen all the time. Like if somebody tells me like, I don't know, you know, I just like got a big bonus at work or something. You know, there might be a moment where I might feel like a little pang of like, okay, show off. But it's like, it's probably because I didn't get a bonus at work. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like if I'm curious, it's like, oh, am I struggling? You know, is my bank account low right now? There's a million reasons why we react. So step 2, be curious, not only as to what you're, you know, where it's coming from for you, but you know, what may be happening with this person as well. Mm-hmm. And number 3 is what we talked about earlier, realizing that whoever you're looking at, talking to, reading about online has lived a completely different life than you. They are making decisions based on everything that they've seen, learned, heard, unheard, etc. in their lives. That's how they're making their decision. Don't try to understand it. You're not, and don't put it in a category that is wrong or just don't put it in a category that's wrong. Just try to be curious and remind yourself like, hey, this is a completely different human. They have a completely different lived experience. And then you do it again and again. Every time you catch yourself throughout the day, you know, I'm feeling annoyed. I'm feeling angry. Okay, why? What's going on for me? What's happening for me? What's happening for them? And then, okay, this is a completely different person. This is why. And then just move on. It's like watching a cloud in the sky. You know, you would never look at a cloud. Well, you might, but usually you don't look at a cloud in the sky and be like, I wonder why it's so round. I wonder why it's so flat. I wonder why it's moving so slow. It's like a fucking cloud. It's like, it just is. I'm just observing a cloud and now it's gone. I'm observing the next cloud. And as the next cloud comes, as the next person comes, it's so much easier because you don't have it piled on from earlier on in the day.
And the trick that I like to use too is when you catch yourself saying the phrase like, I don't understand how they could have done that, or I don't understand what that person was thinking. The key part of that is like, you don't understand.
Yes.
I don't understand. So now I can just turn it, I don't actually understand. Probably because I don't have that lived experience. I'm not that person. I don't have like whatever's going on for them happening. Like, you don't understand. And like you said, you don't always have to understand. It's okay. It's good to be curious always, like if you want to be. But you don't have to understand everybody. You don't have to like agree with everything. Some things you just be like, oh, I don't understand it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need to understand. I need to have opinion about that because I don't understand it.
Yes.
Who am I to have an opinion?
Yes.
When I don't have any understanding of the situation.
Yes, so good. I'm trying to like, even if it's happening in my head, I try and remind myself like, oh, you know, for me, you know, this is not music that I like for me. I'll do that with top 40 sometimes. I'm like, this fucking song. It fucking sucks. No, it doesn't suck. Clearly, because it's on the radio and some people like it. For me, I don't enjoy it. You know what I mean?
But I also think about like, I cannot listen to the radio. Yeah. And it makes me think of like my parents would say the same thing. Like, I can't turn, like every time we're in the car, we're always like, get this noise. It's like stresses us out because it's like, we don't get it. But I also listened to absolute shit music when I was younger. Like, I loved like S Club 7 and all that stuff. And I listen to it now and it's just like, ugh. But it's like, because it's so, I've grown, I've evolved, I like different things. But there's people out there that like that stuff. It makes them happy. They love it. They're dancing.
Can you sing us a verse of S Club 7?
Don't stop, never give up, hold your hand high, so tough. Something, bring it all back to you.
Evada and I are the queens. She is especially car karaoke. You know,
I know. Yeah, I like to make curate a good car playlist that I know everyone in the car will at least know 1 or 2 songs to sing. I like to sing in the car, especially like road trips.
I know you do, and I love that. On the topic of music too, I'll throw something out there, which is very specific to me. If ever you're like, how can this person not want to listen to music right now? I'm that person. I realized recently, some people are always thinking. Their thoughts are always going. Other people have the ability to like just clear their minds. Like I can clear my mind when I'm meditating, but on a day-to-day, I'm problem solving all the time. Like I'm constantly like trying to talk myself off a ledge or whatever. And if there's music on, I cannot, no matter how good or not good the music no matter how good or not good the music is to me, in my opinion, for me, I can't. I need to have silence. And I've been in situations before where I don't want to listen to the music and people think I'm insane and they think I'm a party pooper or they think I'm like you're just a bitch.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I know you don't drive often, but neither do I.
Yeah.
But so this is the thing that I do. Do you do this too?
Turn it on, turn it off.
When I'm driving, like if I'm like on the highway or I know where I'm going, listening to music is fine. As soon as I get to like I have to find a parking spot or
yes,
especially if I get so nervous about parking a car and like not finding parking. I live in Vancouver too, so it's a little more stressful. I always have to turn the music off and like focus.
Yes.
I'll just like turn the music off and I'm like I feel like it makes me like a better driver because I just like anyway.
I'm going to give you one last example because you know this really well, but like I grew up in a very strict kitchen. I've said this before on camera, I'm sure, but my mom was really strict in the kitchen. I was never using the right rag. I was never using the right pot. I was never washing the dishes properly. And I know it's years and years ago. I cannot help it. It's something that's ingrained in me when I'm at somebody's house for dinner. You know, when somebody hosts you and then all the friends are like, we'll do the dishes. I will not fucking do the dishes. And before I had the balls to talk about this and open up to people, I would just be that rude person that came over, ate, and just sits back. You know, but the reality is being in somebody's kitchen makes me so uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It makes me want to vomit. Like you can give me any other task, like go mop the floor, go clean the toilet. I'll clean the toilet. Never got in trouble for cleaning the toilet because you can't really go wrong. But it took me years to vocalize. But you could meet somebody that you're like, well, this fucking person, hey, just came over, ate dinner, doesn't even volunteer to help with the dishes. That's, you know, again, you don't have the lived experience. That's one example. 2 examples that I gave you about me. There's a million about you. And so it's so important to realize, just observe. Be like, this person's not helping in the kitchen. That's interesting.
And like a little observance you could also make now is probably reflecting on any ex relationships you've had, like ex partners. Yeah. Or maybe you currently think like, I don't understand how they could have treated me that way. Or I don't understand how they could have. And now turn it around and be like, oh, I didn't understand. Because I didn't know everything, and people have so many different reasons, and just then it like takes this like heaviness that you have on your heart, like things that you're holding on to, and you can just let them go because it's like you just don't understand, and that's okay.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So let us know if you have any examples about you. I'd love to hear if you have a kitchen story. I mean, it obviously won't. If you have the same story as me, I'll be like blown away. But like if you have a story about yourself that you feel like people just don't understand, I would love to hear it. We would love to hear it.
But now we have a very exciting segment that we do every episode now. We've done it for like 2 episodes.
Every episode. This is the 2nd time. Just kidding.
This is the 3rd one, I think. The third time.
Yeah. Where I pull something, my favorite item that's in Serial Thrifter right now for you to see, and it's called Lucky Charm. Now this item I'm fucking stoked about. I thrifted it today. I'm going to try not to keep it for myself because I'm very, very greedy when it comes to these things. But it's not even posted yet or anything. It is from the 80s. Check this out. It's a lilac. Oh, here. I'm not even sure if we're going to... It's a lilac jumpsuit. Look at this. Look at this pattern here.
Yeah.
Right? Zips down. Cinches at the waist, very important. Cinches in at the waist.
And at the ankles, so it doesn't matter how short you are, this could fit a lot of different people.
It's so good. It's from, and the cool thing I just noticed is it's called COS Sport Sample, not to be sold.
So that's why it is in such mint condition.
This is a gem. Anyways.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Anything in the pockets? I have a bowl here of things I find in pockets. We'll have to look at them one day, but anytime I find something random in a pocket that I thrifted, I keep it for people to look at. And I found some pretty cute things. Except that time I found $60. I did not put that in the bowl.
That's fair.
Yeah.
$60, oh dang. for that
$60. I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, the one time, you know, when you put your hand in your pocket of a jacket from like a year ago and you find your money.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen for that person now because they thrifted it.
They got rid of the jacket. They can't even look in the pocket.
Damn.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Hit the like and subscribe if you want to, or the dislike.
And we won't know.
Yeah, we won't
Well, we
know.
might know. I don't know what this whole dislike, this deactivation. I think other people won't know, but we'll know.
But definitely comment because that's fun for us, and then we can chat with you down there.
Yeah.
Bye.
That was good. Better is what I say every time. That was good.